Weighing in amongst the biggest known land predators, the Tyrannosaurus Rex happens to be the one that exerted the largest bite force among all terrestrial animals. The king of the dinosaurs has also been one of the most recognizable and favorited prehistoric creatures ever since it was first discovered by Barnum Brown back in 1902. Because of this, the massive carnivorous titan became a clear target for John Hammond to recreate in his ambitious tourist attraction, Jurassic Park. Hammond's theme park was built with this star attraction in mind, and its likeness was placed on every possible area that it could be on the island. Even the logo for InGen's project would proudly feature the Tyrannosaur, symbolizing how big of a role it would have in the Jurassic Experience. From what we know, the genetics company recreated 7 Rexes for commercial use on Isla Sorna, but only 3 of these dinosaurs we are certain of having seen so far within the film series. Other Rexes have been featured within the movies, but these creatures aren't within the size and age group of those that were featured within the first 2 films, meaning they couldn't have been a part of the initial batch. If you're curious as to why I stated that 7 Tyrannosaurs are known to have been created on Sorna, the information comes from dialogue spoken by Richard Attenborough in the Trespasser video game that was released in 1998.
Tyrannosaurus Rex, tyrant lizard. They reigned for 25 million years. We grew 7 of them, the 7 rulers of the island.
This game was created as the digital sequel to the second movie and was always intended to be taken as canon to the film series. And seeing as how the story is quite contained and its events unaffected by anything that's ever taken place within the timeline since, its validity still stands as pretty trustworthy. Now, the first Tyrannosaurus that we as audience members would get the pleasure of seeing would be the creature that was shipped to Jurassic Park itself. This gigantic predator is the largest of the animals that we've seen so far, with some estimates measuring her size at 18 to 20 feet tall and even 40 to 47 feet long. Weighing in at 7 tons in the first movie, this Tyrannosaur made its grand entrance in the film after climbing up the hill to eat its prey, and after consuming the goat that the Rex was lured out with, the dinosaur took this moment to grab hold of the electric fence that surrounded its territory after noticing that the power was off. Capitalizing on such an opportune moment, the Rex burst through the fence that contained it on the island, and proceeded to attack the 2 Ford Explorers that had stopped in front of its enclosure. Apart from the obvious size difference this dinosaur has to its clone siblings, this Tyrannosaur can also be identified with large white scars that adorn its neck. The Rex gained these scars after it was attacked by a vengeful velociraptor in the climax of the first film, one that resulted in the destruction of the fossilized Tyrannosaur skeleton that Hammond had put on display, and gave us another one of the most iconic moments within the franchise. After living on the island for several years, this dinosaur would be captured by a team of InGen hunters led by Vic Hoskins in 2002, where she was moved into a safe zone for Masrani's construction teams to begin work on Jurassic World. And after the genetically modified hybrid known as the Indominus Rex would break out and cause a massive amount of damage to the second park, Claire Dearing would release the Tyrannosaur in an effort to make it fight with the untamable monster. Jurassic Park's Tyrannosaurus would eventually subdue this freak of science with the help of a velociraptor that had been raised by Owen Grady, and a mosasaur would finish the job the two started by drowning the beast in Jurassic World's lagoon. Presently living on the island unopposed again, this Rex takes back its kingdom that it originally won back in 1993, after climbing atop of the InGen helipad and giving a triumphant roar once it looked over Isla Nublar. 2 separate Tyrannosaurs are shown to us in the Lost World. This second film takes place on Isla Sorna and features the first male Rex shown in the series. The male's existence is described as being an adaptation that most of the dinosaurs would go through in order to survive within a single-sex environment. Its mate is also shown in the film, and the 2 are known to having produced an offspring that was born in 1997. A large part of the Lost World's plot revolves around these mated tyrannosaurs exhibiting fiercely territorial behavior in order to protect their infant, after a hunting party employed by InGen's new CEO captures the baby in an attempt to lure out the male and kill it. Both full-grown Rexes that are featured within the second movie aren't quite as large as the Tyrannosaur that would be transported to Jurassic Park. Some have speculated that this may be due to the animals being fed less regularly than their sister, and could even have to do with larger amounts of exertion the pair would need to carry out in order to hunt and survive on their own. Nevertheless, these 2 are still extremely large animals and cause a great amount of harm to the hunters on Site B during their visit. The female Rex can be identified as having a duller brown coloration to that of the male, which is given green stripes down its back amongst other physical deviations, the most blatant of which happens to be the deep scarring it has on its muzzle. The male Rex featured in the Lost World has extremely large slashes and tears adorning its face, making it one of the most easily identifiable dinosaurs in the franchise. How it got these scars is still unknown, but many believe the buck to have earned them in a fight to claim the female as its mate. and looking back at the fossil record, this type of behavior is highly plausible, given that Tyrannosaurus Rex happens to be a cannibalistic species. After being tranquilized by big game hunter Roland Timbo, the male Tyrannosaur would be transported to San Diego via boat, and its infant by plane. But after the animal stopped breathing during this voyage, a large amount of naltrexone was administered into its body, putting the dinosaur into a narcoleptic state and becoming a serious problem. After this ship crashes into the San Diego docks, the cage used to house the dinosaur is seen broken and destroyed on the deck of the vessel, and the desperate Ian Malcolm attempts to stop a cop from opening a pair of bent cargo bay doors, which a dying crew had heroically used to contain the animal before their inevitable collision. Now free upon the mainland, this Rex would kill many civilians and terrorize the city for some time before being led back into the cargo hold of the ship by Ian and Sarah, who tempted it with a dinosaur's infant. Both T-Rexes were shipped back to Sorna and are still believed to be living, as well as the female, as far as we all currently know. In Jurassic Park 3, another Tyrannosaur is seen very briefly before it's killed by the Spinosaurus in the film. Even though Stan Winston ultimately used the same animatronic that his team had used for the full-grown Bull Rex in The Lost World, this special effect was used sparingly, and a repaint was given to it so that people could differentiate this animal from the one seen in the second film. The Tyrannosaurus that was killed in Jurassic Park 3 is noticeably brighter green, and shown to be significantly smaller than those that were shown in previous movies. This information is obtainable in a size chart that was packaged alongside the DVD release of the third film, showing this particular dinosaur to be between the sizes of the Rexes from The Lost World and the Ceratosaurus that would be shown in the third movie. A large majority of Jurassic Park's fanbase once believed this Rex to be the infant that was seen in The Lost World, but several factors weigh against this particular theory when given a good analyzation. Still, a popular idea for some is that the skin tone for the juveniles seen in The Lost World changed as it got progressively larger, which is a well-known characteristic observed in most animals today. But this seems rather unlikely after comparing its skin color as an infant to that of its genetic father. Needless to say, they're identical, essentially bringing up another question as to why it would alter its skin to look so different from its cloned parents. With the other 4 Rexes that InGen created being presently unseen within the film series, these 5 Tyrannosaurs are what we've gotten so far, one of which, the original star attraction, has actually gained a name for itself within the fandom. Taking inspiration from Crichton's original novel, Jurassic Park's first Tyrannosaurus is usually referred to as Rexy, and is by far the most popular dinosaur within the entire franchise. I myself will say that I really like this creature as well, but my personal favorite is the buck from The Lost World. Yanking a guy out of a car and ripping him in half before picking your foot up to let it tumble down a cliff with the huge RV that it's connected to is just too badass to ignore. And he did all of this before wiping out the crew of the SS Venture and going Godzilla on San Diego. Definitely a memorable animal in my book. Of course, I'm well aware that many of you will probably say that the first Rex is your favorite, but I still gotta ask. Hopefully our dead homie from part 3 can get some love even though his role got cut short by the Spinosaurus in that film. Let me know in the comments down below. This has been a fun video for me to make and I hope you all enjoyed it. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in seeing my stuff again. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video, guys. And as always, take it easy.